The age of the Hollywood movie star is officially dead. I said it. Please tell me, what do Rachel Zegler, Halle Bailey, and Julie Andrews all have in common? They sing, they act, and they've worked for Disney. Hello, welcome back to Chat About It, Don't Chat About It with me, Rachel. This video is a follow-on video from a previous video that I released yesterday called Rachel Zegler and Halle Bailey Unite with Damage Control. I make sure that I have linked that video below for you. You should go and check it out. In that video, I covered an article, and in that article there was a comment. Let me put that comment on screen for you right now. Do people not understand how lucky we are that Halle Bailey and Rachel Zegler are helming these iconic movies with their spectacular, breathtaking voices and singing talent? As an audience member, we're as lucky as those who saw Julie Andrews in Sound of Music and Mary Poppins for the first time. Julie Andrews is not necessarily what anyone would call innocent. There are stories that of course float around about her early days in her career, where behind the set she was a bit of a potty mouth. Richard Harris had a few choice words to say about her, as did Rex Harrison. And Christopher Plummer, yes, her close friend, Christopher Plummer, didn't like her to begin with. He described working with Julie as being hit over her head with a valentine. But this got me thinking, how can you compare the modern day movie star to someone who was essentially a golden era movie star? Now, there is debates about where the golden era actually falls. I know the 1930s is very much a dead cert for the golden era, but there is also the theory that the golden era goes from 1927 to 1969, and Mary Poppins was filmed in the 1960s. So it really got me thinking that the day of the movie star is dead, and really I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the modern day movie star has access to social media. Julie Andrews does have access to social media, but let me pull up on the screen her Twitter account versus modern day celebrity Twitter accounts. We've got a plug for her and her daughter's book. Another plug for it. Another plug. Another plug, that's her and her daughter there, and of course another plug. So not really anything that's particularly onerous. This is personal life, everything to do. But then she's retweeting things like, this doctor diagnosed me with sweetheart syndrome, babe, do you remember this forever actress? And then she's also retweeted stuff like this: I feel the weight of centuries smothering me. Some girl 100 years ago once lived as I do, and she is dead. I am the present, but I know too I will pass. The high moment, the burning flash, come and gone, continuous quicksand, and I don't want to die. That's quite dark. So I was wondering what kind of rules Julie Andrews would have potentially had to have followed back when she was much younger and filming in the golden era. And believe me, what I found out, it's unbelievably controlling. Stars like Halle Bailey and Rachel Zegler should actually be very grateful for what they've got now. So I found this, and I found this article on harpersbazaar.com, and I will make sure that I link it below. So this is 35 rules you probably didn't know old Hollywood stars had to follow. 1, they had to sign long-term contracts. Talent could be loaned to other studios. Actors couldn't refuse parts, whereas today they can. And women often had to change their appearances. They had to take acting classes, voice lessons. Minor roles in movies usually came first, and that's probably pretty much still the same today, give or take. Every actress was given an image to uphold. Appearance was everything. And of course, with appearance, that also means obviously how you look, but what you actually say to the public. They had to pander to the press, and promoting their films was everything. Some stars like Elizabeth Taylor went the extra mile when it came to promoting films. The MGM's star first marriage to Conrad Hilton was a widely publicised event that was conveniently timed with the release of her new movie, Father of the Bride, and was paid for by the studio. Tarnishing one's reputation was inexcusable, and that is something that also still stands today. But with the use of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, there are major ways that we are able to slip up. So those rules were quite extreme, but the rules that definitely still stand today is how you present yourself. And stars like Julie Andrews, Audrey Hepburn, I'm just trying to think of people who we perceive as classy here. Angela Lansbury has never had access back then to social media. They had access to press, and that was inclusive of like the Hollywood magazines and whatever, radio, TV, and stage, but generally, on the whole, on the face, no matter what they were like behind the scenes, on the face, on the surface, they generally presented themselves in the way that was expected of them. They generally fed back to the public what the studio had told them to say, and they adhered to the rules that they had to follow, because if they didn't, they could be a whitewash, which is where social media has actually become the major problem here. The evolution of social media has actually caused the downfall of many celebrities. Now, don't get me wrong, Golden Era certainly had its major starlet scandals. It certainly did, but it's nothing compared to what we get today. And I think celebrities certainly back then were a lot less accessible, and I think members of the public today think they are entitled to know what's going on and every nitty-gritty stuff that you get in a celebrity's life, which is just not the case. But with the access of social media, celebrities have actually made it accessible. Because they can run their mouths on social media, they're not so orchestrated, they are not so whipped into shape. It's just a quote, Legally Blonde, without meaning to there. And the only thing is, because of that, they are more, what's the word for it? Accountable for their actions. People say that content creators like us who react to what they say should just leave them alone, but we're calling them out for the things that they say that Hollywood doesn't seem to actually hone them in and pull them back in and rein them back in for. I'm not talking about their personal lives, you know, even though I don't believe we're entitled to know what's going on in their personal lives. They can post whatever they like about their personal life, but we should be able to at least call it out, right? This is an article that I found, as I'm going to only read a part of it, but as how the internet destroyed the celebrity. So the rise of social media permanently reorganized not only our relationship with celebrities, but the entire concept of fame, which is true. The invention of Twitter meant celebrities could interact directly with fans, millions of followers hanging on with their every word. Actors suddenly found a new stage, typing out any conceivable thought, that they became free to give their opinion. Now, they are allowed their opinion, but they just got to be careful with what they say, because they can be under major scrutiny. Like, I can be under major scrutiny for making this video, but I don't give a shit. They become free to give their opinion on everything from foreign policy to climate change, yet often these people aren't the best informed. As Ricky Gervais said, most of them have spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. Engagement means disagreement, so opinions go unchallenged. Well, the public feel the need to challenge it. And all of a sudden, the flaws, shortcomings, and insecurities were laid bare for the world to see. The Depp Heard trial has been dubbed Generation TikToks of O.J. Simpson's moment, amplified through social media. It has become the latest real-life courtroom drama to capture the attention of the two-star fans. Now, this, of course, was from last year, but it's just talking about how really someone like Amber Heard used social media to put her life out there and try and defame Johnny. Now, Depp observes that he constantly mocking his histrionics, and crocodile tears, according to TikTok videos featuring an hashtag Amber Turd, have been more than viewed 1.2 billion times. Of course, we know all of that, but the cult of the celebrity is dying, and the internet is going to be the swan song. The trial has shown how this once all-powerful and pervasive cultural phenomenon is now in decline. It is inevitable that it should be happening now. Everything is changing, especially how we see the rich and famous. This trial from last year is a really good example of how we perceive the modern day celebrity. The modern day celebrity has this access to social media, and they take advantage of that. They express their views, their political opinions, and that of course is in turn allowed to be scrutinized. They act like they're well informed, and they're not necessarily well informed. And this is why you could never ever compare the modern day era star to a golden era star. You can't compare Halle Bailey, Rachel Zegler to Julie Andrews. Why? Because they're in two different time periods. Regardless of any flaws that Julie Andrews may have had when she was younger, especially in her early days of career, how she presented herself to everyone, like away from the sets, is completely different to how someone like Rachel Zegler, Halle Bailey, if you want to use Halle Bailey as an example, Amber Heard, Brie Larson, any of the modern day film star that has basically run their mouth off just recently. You just can't compare, because they have access to social media. They're more free than Julie ever was to speak any of her opinions, and I'm sure she had some, but they're more free to do it, and they're more prone to scrutiny, and this is all because of social media and their want to go ahead and use it. There are still a lot of older day stars who don't use social media, and because they don't use social media, we don't have access to all of that. We can't scrutinize them for things that they say. So they still have that air of mystery surrounding them. I showed you an example of Julie's Twitter earlier. She still has that air of mystery surrounding her because she doesn't really post anything that is particularly politically minded or anything that's likely to come under scrutiny. It's just fact. It's there. You can see it. And Rachel Zegler does that. Brie Larson has had videos where she's made comments, which have not been really great. Good example also, Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, with their whole debacle of supporting Danny Masterson, when really perhaps they shouldn't have done it, because of course they became scrutinised thanks to what? Thanks to the internet and someone releasing those statements. But anyway, the whole argument is there is absolutely no way that you can compare a golden era stars, even if they are surrounded with controversy and scandal, to the modern day star who are also surrounded by controversy and scandal, because it is two different time periods, so it just doesn't work. You guys, let me know what you think. Drop a comment below. Remember, chat about it, don't shout about it. Be kind to each other in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.